Hello, welcome back to Primo Calcio. Today we're here with another weekly review. It is match day 23 of the Serie A. Michael again here with Anthony. How are you doing this fine day?
It's been a sad week. Sad week of
Been a sad
calcio.
week. Why
Yeah,
is
it's been a
that?
bad week of calcio. Well, I thought Napoli was going to be able to get a little lead on Inter. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much bummed me out.
Yeah, very
Two
late
minutes
goal.
left. Yeah.
Um, there were two
Yep.
in the two biggest games. There were two late goals. We'll get to those kind of towards the end. Let's kick it off with Parma versus Lecce. You were right on this one. I thought Parma was going to either tie or win. You called the Lecce win 3-1. Goals from Krstovic and Pierotti, and then on Parma, Valeri. So it looks like Lecce handled business.
I didn't know it was going to be a goal fiesta for Lecce, but
It was definitely a party for them.
it was. It was a goal party.
Lecce now moves clear of the drop zone. Parma stays in it. So Parma is actually in 18th now, and Lecce moves 3 points clear. So that actually was a pretty big relegation game.
Oh yeah.
Direct rival or direct competitors there, rather. Next, we go to Udinese versus Venezia. Scoring was kicked off by Luca, and then it was Lovric. Two goals from Nicolas, one from Nicolas Caviglia, and then Gitkar to tie the game up, and Iker Bravo pulls it out 3-2 Udinese over Venezia.
Well, Lorenzo Lucas scores what? His 10th goal now?
I don't know where he's at, but he is
I think
doing
that's
quite
10,
well
buddy.
overall.
Yeah, that's 10
Let
goals
me
for
see.
Luca.
Yep, he's at 9. He's at 9.
And
So
is that the fourth? How many does Caviglia have? Is that 4 for Caviglia?
not sure where Caviglia is. He'll be way down on the list, but we got
I think
Retegui,
he has more
Turan,
goals than
Keane.
the entire Juventus midfield. I just want to say.
Yeah. Yeah, keep selling the kids, right? Yeah.
this this hit them all away.
It's
I never
awesome.
thought he'd be like a superstar, but he's a very solid player
Yeah,
that
at
was
very least
free.
be
Uh,
serviceable or be,
yeah,
worthy of being a sub, you know what I mean?
I mean, he's not playing everyone in our midfield, so just goes to show. On Venezia, just can't make the excuse that he has a ton of talent around him.
Right?
Uh,
Next we go into Verona versus Monza. Verona
yeah,
1-0. Monza again, they
Monza, man.
they can't buy a win.
Well, they can't buy players either. They just sell them all. They just sell everybody that's any good.
Yeah, because Bondo has been one of their best, but Bondo
He's
is
gone.
is going to be going across to Milan now.
Yep,
So,
he's gone. And Maldini, he's gone.
yep, yeah, Maldini's gone too. Yeah, right. Yeah, both of their best ones are gone.
Hmm.
So,
That striker, what's his name? Juric, he's gone.
yeah, did you see the goal too?
No, I didn't watch this
It's
one.
it's
Was
an
it him?
no, it's an amazing own goal. The Venezia guy just
Oh,
crossed. It's a very basic cross. There's nobody really even that much pressuring the Monza player. I think it was Lekovic maybe,
I don't
and
know who that guy.
and he just literally doesn't clear it. He just stumbles over himself and pops it right in the net. It's pretty bad.
Brilliant.
So I mean, it's kind of fitting for Monza's season here.
Yeah,
I think are they dead last?
they are
Yeah,
dead last, stinking it up. They're a
yes
whole
they
game
are.
behind Venezia,
Yeah, they are
and they are
7 points out of.
8. Yes, 8 points.
There's
Yeah,
no
they're
way. There's no way they're gonna
well. Galliani, you can't sell all
sell
your
your guys.
players. Yeah, you just can't do it, my man.
Not gonna work.
Mm.
Um, Trap game coming up next. Atalanta Torino. Thought
Yeah.
Atalanta may pull it off, but Torino is one of those teams that will kind of surprise you and show up.
Hmm.
Honestly, I thought it was less Torino and more so Atalanta just not showing up in this game. Jim City scored and then Maripan scored. Atalanta, I don't know.
You
Many
called it, man.
shots,
You said
much
this happens every time.
possession. Yeah,
This happens every time with Gasparini. You said it at the very beginning of when we started doing these casts this year. That Gasparini every year falls off, and he says, "Yeah, like he'll pick it up probably with like 3 games to go." But this is why he cannot coach a big club. You have to win these scrappy games, and his teams just don't. They they lose the ugly games at the expense of playing beautiful football. It's like, well, that's great and everything, but
yeah. Everybody thought that
they
this would be a
had
little bit of a different year because, like, well, maybe Atalanta is starting to grind out some games early in the season, but you know what? Just wait. They always start to crumble around this time mid-season. They pick it back up again late, and they kind of catch fire again. But you can't have a lull like this if you're gonna try to
no,
challenge for this Scudetto. So I think that this um pretty close to seals their fate for not being. I mean, they're still
yeah,
within reach, but I don't think they're gonna be able to compete. for the
Oh
Scudetto.
no,
Personally,
they're not in the Scudetto race at all. But they did a good enough job in the beginning to distance themselves.
yeah, they should be
Um,
able to hold on to the top four, but I mean they're not that far ahead, so we'll see.
yeah, yeah.
If they got 5 point lead on Lazio, 7 point lead on Juve. If Fiorentina win their next game, which would be against Inter, they would have a 5 point lead on them. So it's not like they have a ton of clearance, but they've done enough to probably cement their spot there. We'll know more
Right.
in like 5-6 games, but
The teams behind him just can't string a win together. I did want to say, so we made a point at the beginning. We were talking a little bit before we started. There's only 3 teams in all of Serie A that have won more than 2 games in the last 5.
yeah.
Napoli, Inter, and Roma. Everybody, not a single team in Serie A has won more than 2 out of 5 of their games.
Yeah, everybody's just beating each other up. So yeah, Inter
Yeah,
has 3 wins and 2 draws. Napoli has 4 wins and 1 draw, and then Roma has same as Inter, 3 wins and two
3-2.
draws. So
Yeah.
those are the only teams, and that's why they're starting to kind of Roma's making a little bit of headway finally in the league. Still nowhere near where they need to be, and Napoli and Inter are kind of pulling away a little bit because of that exact reason. Everybody else, I mean, it's awful. Like look at let's see. I mean, you're a Juve guy, I'm a Milan guy, and they both have a very similar record. Juve tie win loss win. Milan tie win loss win.
Yeah.
That's
I
not
mean,
good enough for teams of the caliber they want to be.
no, I mean it's we've gone over it ad nauseum with with the problems with Juventus and Milan and the lack of character to just get through these small games. But like none of these teams can get through these small games. Like
No,
our teams are performing the same way Lazio and Fiorentina and Bologna are, where they're just losing stupid points to stupid teams. Like they're not even really beating each other up. They're just losing them, against small sides.
it's kind of what you see though.
So
I mean, that's like their form of beating each other up. Just a lot of sloppiness. But I mean,
yeah,
it's I kind of thought this was the way
beating
the season
themselves
was
up.
going to go. Is it was just going to be like an all out brawl, and we weren't going to really know what was going to happen because no team, in my opinion, is that fully complete. I think the only reason Napoli's doing it is because they have Conte at the helm, who's kind of driving
Yeah,
the
it's the
bus for right
Conte
now,
show.
and
Yeah.
they haven't really fallen off yet. They may have a lull, but they may not. So
Yeah. Inter's got a really good starting. I mean, they have the best starting lineup in Syria, I think, by quite some distance. But I think that yeah, they've been a little bit let down by their depth.
yeah, their
I
depth
think
is
that's what
rough,
kind of
and
hurts
they
them.
got Champions League and Copa. So I mean, those are two competitions that Napoli's not playing in.
Yeah, I think that's overrated, man. I think that's these are grown men and professional athletes. They can't play 2, even 3 games a week. That's ridiculous.
I don't
If
necessarily
their
disagree with you,
practices,
but it definitely does play a role.
yeah, they're just not very. They're not very macho these days. Let's just say that. They can't play 2 freaking games a week. It's ridiculous. Toughen up.
It is where we're at,
Toughen
though.
up.
Let's
Yeah.
move forward to Bologna as one of the teams that, for kind of confirming their spot in the table, needed to win, and they
Yeah.
did. Como has been a team who's been on a little bit of a tear. They made some moves in the winter mercato, but they did lose 2-0 to Bologna. Goals from De Silvestri and Fabian, and then red carded for Federa. So Bologna did overall look pretty good in this match. Possession was pretty equal, but Bologna just looked more dangerous in general. I don't think Como did anywhere near enough to be threatening in this game. They did not look great. The card came pretty early on, so that was obviously pretty hindering, but it was after the first goal.
Yeah.
All right, Juve Empoli, 4-1. It was the Shili with an early goal. I think just some missed marking on that. It was off a corner kick, right?
I'm glad for Deshilia. Yeah, yeah. No,
Stick to his old team.
this is going to be the theme of the week. Okay. Coop Miners did not pick him up. He was behind him. These back
It
post
was Coop.
goals.
Yeah, that's right. I remember.
Yeah.
It was Coop.
These back post goals are just out of control. I don't know what's happened in recent years, but no, it's like no one can pay attention to what's behind them. And this is going to be a theme of the week. There's a bunch of these that happened, or a few more at least, that happened in
It's
very critical
definitely a
games.
theme. It's definitely a
Yeah,
theme. You're gonna see it, and we're gonna talk about that a couple times. But yeah, back post markings, people just spacing out. They don't even think the ball is gonna come back there, and yet it does.
just
Um,
complete lack of awareness. Have no idea where they're at on the field. I think once again we were saying before we started this, these guys just chase the ball around. They have no idea really what's going on. They do work really hard,
there's not
and they're
much foresight.
supposedly fit. Yeah, they're supposedly fit, even though they can only play 1 game a week without getting so tired. But yeah, they have they have no idea who, like someone could be behind me right now.
You're
Oh,
definitely
nope, let me
seeing
chase the
the
ball. This is like basics, man.
you're definitely seeing the kind of end of the very good lockdown, composed, smart defender. I mean,
Oh,
especially
we haven't
with
seen that.
with side backs. I mean, you don't really have guys who can lock down a wing anymore. I mean,
Oh,
they might stop a player a couple times, but yeah, that definitely doesn't exist. All the best side backs you look at in the world are now mainly known for their attacking prowess. So
oh,
that's just kind of the
absolutely.
way that the game goes.
Yeah. No, side
They
backs can't defend anymore.
in this game, I don't know. I kind of thought that Empoli was much stronger in the first half. Like Juve didn't really look good at all, right? Empoli
No.
even got that one goal called off for handball, but I mean, those were pretty well worked goal. Um,
Mhm.
but and then
Was that
let's
the
see.
the handball? That was the one that was against his chest too, right?
I think it did hit his hand. I think it was it.
Yeah.
After
Okay.
rewatching, I did think it was rightly called off.
Yeah.
Colomwani got two. His first goal was good. It was once again against people. A lot of people are high on this guy, this
This
Saba
kid.
Ngokalitske. I don't think
Yeah.
he's that amazing.
I don't think he's
His
amazing at
positional
all.
marking is, in my opinion, terrible.
His defending is terrible. Yeah.
He makes strong challenges. He's physical when he's close, and that's great. But his brain, in my opinion, is just not there. Even on Colomani's deflection, he wasn't marking him tight enough. So, and it's funny,
Totally agree.
he wasn't in the game down. He wasn't in there when Empoli was leading. They sub him on, and I'm not saying all four goals are his fault, but they sub him on, and boom, they get four goals scored on him. So I mean, there's a weakest link
Um,
in the defense, and I think it's pretty obvious who it is. So
I mean, I don't mean to rag on the kid. He's a kid.
yeah, he's a kid.
I have no idea, genuinely, why anyone thinks this guy's any good at all.
The only reason why I bring it up is because
I
he's been
don't
linked
see it.
with Milan a lot. Like he was one of like the last like transfer deadline day links. It was like people were looking at him. If Tamori went, he was going to be one of the guys looked at. And I'm just like,
You're.
for some of like Tamori's faults, like he always tries hard, he fights hard, and he's much better than Goga Kidze.
Oh, I mean,
Much
if
better.
you're gonna have a person who's gonna make, I mean, there are no good defenders anymore. Truly, like maybe in Italy, since he's close to home, Buongiorno is a good actual defender. They're not. There's no great defenders
Right, but
anymore.
yeah,
Where are you gonna find them?
they don't compare to like the Nessas and guys like that. This
No,
just
yeah,
different breed
these guys
entirely.
are always gonna make like anywhere from like 3 to 5 mistakes a match, and it's either gonna cost them or not, depending on how how lucky they are or the situation. Like
Mm-hmm.
man, I don't even know how to. Every single time people are saying, "Oh, this guy's a good player, check him out." I'm like, so I start watching some games back. They have, I don't see a single good a single good
Defender
example
wise,
of a good
no. Yeah,
defender. Like
it's
even Camuzzo, I like Camuzzo. He's a good young. He's 19 years old. Fiorentina before, I don't know, a few weeks ago, we're having one of the top defenses in Serie A with him and Ranieri. And I, tons of mistakes.
yeah, eventually it kind of
Just
creeps in. I mean,
yeah.
it
I
is what it is.
I mean he's I'm not impressed with this kid. I don't know what the hype is. He's linked with us too. I'm just like, please no. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not even the best defender on the team. I'd rather have Ismaili for his experience. Or if we're gonna get a young guy, Vidi's been much better than him all season. I mean, not even close.
As you said, honestly, I don't mean to rag on him, but because he's been linked with both of our teams, especially with a lot of the crazy transfer stuff that's been going on recently, that's kind of why I brought that up. But either way, Juve much needed win because they have been struggling as we have kind of brought up. So much needed win there. And
Yeah, no, yeah.
Colomani is starting
Let's talk
strong.
about the
So
good stuff. Yeah, Colomboani. Yeah, he's running around and getting in the right spot, and that's by far the most important thing that we needed. I mean, we haven't really had that. A guy who's like the deflection goal. I take that accidental goal all day long. I love
but
those
he's in the
goals.
right spot. He's
Yeah,
there.
he's in the right spot. Just that's fine. I'll take it. It wasn't a thing of beauty, but that's a good sign. I don't think he's that great of a player, but I think he's
I mean, if
exactly the
he
kind
can
of
be
work ethic that we need.
in a better spot than he can be in a better
Yeah,
spot than Vlahovic. And if he can bury a couple more chances than Vlahovic should have buried, then Juve would be in a much different spot in the league. I mean, if
yeah.
they would have scored one more goal here in a couple games, they'd be in a much different spot. So
Well, you could say that about a lot of games too.
it's true.
A lot of teams. It's you got to score those goals. It's tough
Yep.
in Serie A to score, but
But
I
that's
know
kind of what I'm
it
saying,
was
though. If he can be that guy, that's a massive difference. So we'll see
yeah.
if he can at least be the guy who'd be more consistently bagging goals over Vlahovic.
It was a good second half performance from Juve. I thought Empoli definitely fell apart. I think I did not as good as the scoreline looked. But
Yeah, yeah. 4-1
let's
is a
just
bit flatter than Juve.
yeah, I know we were also linked with Angelino as well. Let's just pump the brakes on these guys. I know that these like foreign names sound really exciting, and we don't even really know how to pronounce them sometimes. So it's like, ooh, wow, who's this? They got absolutely that midfield got absolutely dominated, just by a team that's
Yeah, Juve
hasn't been
is not a
dominating
team
midfield.
known for their powerful midfield. That's for
No,
sure.
and they're definitely a team in tight games that crumbles. So all Empoli had to do was outwork them, and they didn't. And it just let's let's relax with some of these links.
Yep. But Juve does so far, I guess, solidify
Much
fifth
needed
place
victory.
for the time being. We'll see if Fiorentina can pull off a win against Inter. They would move ahead of them, and then Juve would slide back to sixth. But it does move Juve within striking distance of of Lazio, which is 2 points ahead of them in fourth place. So, and there's no game in hand there, so they are tied up on matches played. Okay, let's go to the next game. It's gonna be Fiorentina versus Genoa. Another team in their need a win. It was Fiorentina, and they finally are getting a little bit
Yeah.
of a groove back, 2-1 against Genoa. And the two, in my opinion, their two kind of best players there are Moiskin and Goodmanson. Nice to see
Yes.
Goodmanson finally get back. He's been playing better and better each week.
Mhm.
Fiorentina is gonna need him going forward.
Big time. Well, a couple things in this game. I'm trying to pull up the starting lineup here, but I think you finally did see Goodmanson really. He's been improving slightly, but yeah, he's back now. His impact's being felt. Mondragora once again, good performance in the midfield, and I like the Mondragora Richardson midfield the best so far. I think that's been the most stout they've had, but they started to kind of fall off in the second half, right? And I don't like this. Who's this other center back? I know they. I don't know why Kumuta's not starting. I think they're trying to sell him or something. I think that was the deal. But
Well, yeah, he
um,
was linked with Napoli, so they couldn't have played him because he was linked with about a 30 million move, but that didn't happen. So I'm sure you'll see him back on the starting lineup again.
okay, yeah,
Did you
yeah. The
see
guy they
you
had in
saw
there.
the
Ooh,
goals, right? You see the Moise Kean goal?
oh yeah, I saw. Yeah, I saw the
That's
goals.
amazing.
Yeah, dude.
Moise Kean goal was awesome. That was
I
definitely
mean,
a goal of the week for me. That was so
we're
good, man.
we're talking about Kolo Muani. I'm watching Moise Kean. What's that? His 13th goal now.
Yeah, dude, he's looking so
He's
good right now,
awesome, man.
man.
He's an awesome player. If you don't have the vision, I apologize, but some players can play
Yeah.
and some cannot.
Hey
And
man,
some,
Milan didn't want to
it's crazy, man.
take a chance on him when he was linked in there, and Juventus offered him to him, and they're like, no, we're good. We're gonna just do a last minute deal for Tammy Abraham instead.
Yep, there you
Okay,
go.
cool. Yeah, a
Hmm.
dry loan too, and you could have bought
Well,
Keane for cheap. He's a striker and a kid.
your club is the same bad management we do.
Yeah, no vision,
Yeah,
but
zero. They don't care. They don't even care to have it. It's just that they seize opportunities, Michael.
that's right. That's the way to go. I'm just glad to see Fiorentina back in the win column. I like
Yeah,
their
me too.
team. I'm glad to see Mondragora getting playing time. I think that
Yeah,
actually, weirdly enough, I know they've mixed around. I think that's actually your staple in midfield, and the other guys can
yeah.
rotate around. I don't care if it's Cataldi or if it's Adli or if it's Richardson. I think Mondragora is actually the staple. He can do a little bit of it all.
We talked about exactly this a few weeks ago when they were starting to have their struggles, and I think it was the game before the Juventus game. I forget which one that was, but we noticed that their midfield was incredibly leaky. And then the Juve game again, incredibly leaky midfield. I think we both recommended Mondragora, who's probably their best option. And it's nice to see stuff like that work out because it has been the absolute key here for them, getting some sort of stability in that horribly weak midfield. And also Richardson, he's their next best tackler there. So let's see how they do it with Fagioli
And
coming in there, right?
they made some moves. I mean, they loaned. We'll talk about the in-depth moves and what we want to do, but they loaned out Sotil. They brought in Fagioli. They brought in Sharon Dur, right? And they brought in Zaniolo. I mean, like this is definitely the Primo Calcio team because they're actually bringing in like the younger and Italians, which obviously this is a huge point of this cast is we really want to make sure that that the we hope that Italy comes back. Of course, we like our teams. I wouldn't even say I like my team right now, but
Oh, I
because
don't like
of
my team at
the
all right
direction that
now.
they're
Yeah,
going. But
yeah,
really, I want to see Serie A succeed, especially the ones who kind of promote the younger Italian ones. I think that's something that has been lost, and that's why you see the national team has been struggling, and now they're finally starting to look good again because of teams like this. So we're
yeah.
all about Fiorentina this year, hoping that they do really well. I love the picks that they did. Do you remember if the Fagioli one is option or is it what are they doing with it? Is there obligation?
It's option, I think. I
Maybe
have
they
to look
buy
it up.
him. I think I see 23. Let's see.
Yeah. No,
2.5
they just
initial fee, a 16 million clause due in July, another 2.5. So no, they just straight up bought him.
oh good,
He's
okay.
loaned. I think
Good.
it's got to be an obligation. So
Good.
it looks like they're buying him for about
Honestly,
18 mil.
if you're a young player and you're considering going to Juventus and Milan, just don't. Go somewhere else where they're actually going to want to play you, where you're not going to ride the bench. There was no reason
Hmm.
for Fagioli to get the treatment that he got, and it certainly wasn't based on performances. And look at what they've done to all their other talented
Yeah.
youngsters. I mean, Ravella, Heisen, like they just ship them out as soon as they can make money on them because it's pure capital gains. So if you're a young Italian player, go somewhere else. Go to the Premier League. And this is something I never thought I would ever say, but there's two of the top clubs in Italy, and Inter's always been like this. So I can really say three, but with Marotta there, they've been a little bit better. I mean, Milan and Juventus have zero interest in Italian talent. Zero. They go out of their way to avoid bringing homegrown guys in.
Yeah.
And then when they do, then they make one mistake, the fans shit all over them, and they put
Yeah,
some other guy
they're
in there
just
that's
not
actually
gonna last
worse.
anymore.
Yeah, and that they'll tolerate the worst player because reasons. Who knows?
I
So
I think Fagioli
yeah,
is going to be good. I'd like to see
I do too.
him
Yeah,
immediately go into that lineup, and I think he is gonna like he'll start working him in. I think he eventually is gonna cement the starting spot there. I think he's a player with by far the most quality in that midfield. I'm very excited to see Sharon Dur too. They got him for only 5 mil. That's a really cheap, super young kid. I mean, there's unless
yeah.
he's totally terrible, there's no way if you're going value wise, his value is not going to skyrocket from there. If he's even
Palladino came out
average,
and
he's going
said
to do it.
this.
So
He said he believes in young Italian talent. I mean, there's a reason we have some of the best under 19, 20, and 21 teams in the world, and then it doesn't pan out because they don't play their kids. Palladino's been playing him. He's been successful so far with it, especially with Camuzzo, Ranieri, and Keane. I'm surprised they loaned out Sotil. He was playing really well for them for a while.
yep.
So that's a surprising one. It's a real bummer about Bove too. That was
Yeah, I
man,
think
that'd
that
be an awesome
that's a
midfield.
downgrade. You're going from Sotil to Zaniolo. Now Zaniolo has much more quality. He's a better player in general, but he's a wild card. He might play terrible for 10 games, then have an amazing couple. Whereas Sotil's at least consistently solid. So I mean,
I
like,
like Zaniolo.
and I don't know, man. Every
It's
team keeps him for like a year and then he leaves. So nobody likes this guy.
no,
So
he's a
I wouldn't
he's
take
a
him on my team.
shitbag.
That's for sure, dude.
No,
I would not take him on my team.
he's like this generation's Cassano,
Yeah, he's a
and I think
Cassano
that's pretty good.
Balotelli. That's the type of character he
Yeah,
is for sure.
yeah. Except just like everything from this generation, he's just a shitty version of it. He's not nearly
Yeah,
as good as
he's not
Cassano
as
was,
talented as either of those
and
guys.
he's not even as good at being an asshole.
No, he's not as good at sound. He's not as good as Balotelli. He just
Yeah,
starts the same amount of stuff. So,
yeah.
um,
Fun.
yeah, big game though. So big game for Fiorentina, and now they got a big one coming up against Inter. So we'll see how that goes. Let's
Oh
move
yeah,
into
dude,
the
they have
Inter
big
Milan game
next.
next. That's going to be 1-1 with a
Oh,
late goal. Zalewski got it down to De Vrij, who got
good for
the
him.
late tying goal. Reinders with a goal after a good layout run. So I thought it was kind of a game of two halves. Milan looked, I would say, a little bit more dangerous in the first half. Inter still had great chances, but they had a couple good chances, Milan, in the first half. Where second half, I thought it was kind of domination by Inter. And Milan, in my opinion, is lucky to scrape through with a 1-1 draw. I think it's at least a fair result, but I wouldn't have been surprised if Inter won. They hit the crossbar 3 times. They had a couple disallowed goals that were due to
Yeah,
some offsides, but they were the right calls, and they had what? And everything was overall all better from possession to corners to shots. So, yep, 1-1 is
that's
fair, but I think Inter could have won that game for sure.
that's I was. I think they're. I hate to use the term lucky. I think it's so over applied. But I think Milan were very lucky to get a draw there. I can't believe how many times Inter ripped it off the crossbars and the posts. And
Yeah.
oh my, yeah, I was like, whoa. So yeah, it was a deserved draw for Inter. And yeah, no, Milan played well because I mean, the draw Inter right now in Milan's current state, I guess you got to take that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did think that Inter before that they started to like really press later in the game looked really sluggish. I don't know if that's a little bit of kind of leftover
Yeah,
from their midweek game when they did quite well. They just looked a little bit like sloppy, and I don't know. Çalhanoğlu didn't really look up for it initially. Like he was just kind of all over the place. He lost his marker for the actual goal. Like if you look at that goal, he's running just straight back to play center back. There's nobody's marking, and his man is definitely Reinders, and he just leaves him entirely just gone. And the ball rolls Reinders, and he still had to make a nice shot there, but I mean, like there's no marking. So you see this all the time. Defensive midfielders rarely cover the late run. That's another one of my pet peeves in the modern game. I didn't see it from Shahanoglu. So Reinders gets the goal. Um, and
How
yeah,
do
I
you think
mean,
these coaches deal with this stuff? Like,
they don't. They
it's
just try to
such
score more
so
goals.
yeah, it's just such basic things. I actually like it. It was he wasn't applying it to this kind of thing. I guess in a way he was, but Constance said a couple weeks ago. He goes, "What do you mean tactics?" He goes, "We can't do the basics right. We can't win loose balls.
No,
Like
he's
you got. It
right.
doesn't matter what your tactics are." I
He's
totally agree
absolutely
with him.
right. You got to start there. Tactics are later when you know your
Yeah.
team already has everything else that you need. Then you say, okay, now we're going to work on some tactics.
I mean, how do you sculpt up tactics when you can't mark guys on the back post?
I don't
When you
know.
can't pick up runs of players running right in front of you? I mean,
Yeah, if you don't have
I
like the
would go
basic like
ballistic.
brain power to like read the game a little bit, you're not. You
It's
developing
because you
tactical
have
know-how.
this super positive, nice coaches now. Whereas, like, when I was 10 years old, if I did that, my coach would scream in my face.
Yeah, I
So you
mean, look
bet
at
your
all
ass I
like
wouldn't do that again.
I guess most of like the best coaches. I wouldn't say all, but most of the best coaches. They're all they're all pretty amazingly volatile characters. You got Antonio Conte,
Yeah,
you've got Pep Guardiola. I mean, it's those are. I mean, I don't say that's the way you
yeah,
have to be because guys like Ancelotti are good too. They're just different style, but a lot of them are like that
yeah. It's well at the professional level, you at the very top. You got a lot of prima donna players too that don't want to get screamed at.
for
But
sure.
at that level too, you should also expect them to be professional. I don't understand what's happening anymore. I really don't. All these matches I watched this weekend, I'm like, every time they looked a little good, something absolutely stupid happened. What are you doing?
Yeah,
What are you doing? This guy's wide open next to you. Just get over there.
we'll
Come on.
say. I thought that Kyle Walker played well. I thought it was yeah,
Yeah.
I did see him like the whole time actually trying to organize the defense, even from right back, and it actually was noticeable. Like Milan looked a lot more composed when they were actually back. They were defending it as a pretty decent unit for once. The midfield still is just not up to par, so we'll see what happens there. But their
Yeah.
defensive line held its shape a lot better. So I'd say that was a direct improvement over the right backs Milan has as or had Calabria and Real. So that was good to see from a
I
Milan standpoint.
I like these signings for Serie A. I do. I think players like this always do pretty well for a year or two in Serie A, and this is exactly the kind of players that teams like Milan, Juventus, Inter, teams that are fighting for Scudetti should actually
Yep.
pick up. And
No,
that,
he's gonna be good for the locker room.
yeah,
Good for like the defense. He's
yeah,
actually won stuff before, which I mean, like,
yeah.
besides like a couple players on the team, nobody at Milan has won anything besides that one Scudetto. Like a handful of people have won it. The rest haven't won anything. So it's
No, I
nice
think
to
it's a
have that
great
type of
pickup.
mindset. So
Yeah,
I think it's a good call.
yeah, I do too.
All right, that is that game. Next, we move into couple of the last two games of the weekend. Roma Napoli. Big title
Oh,
implications here. Very similar to the Milan Inter game with a late tying goal. Um, this time from Roma and from Angelino. Really good shot, but in my opinion, we talked about this. It was missed marking
yeah,
from Di Lorenzo. I don't know why he was tucked in
completely
so
missed.
tightly. Your man is on the outside there. Why are you tucking in? The people can say it maybe wasn't him. It is him. He's the
It's
side
totally
back.
him.
He should be covering that guy on the outside.
His choice was, and it's everybody's been in this situation who's played before. You have decisions to make and you get stuck on the ball sometimes. Okay, it happens when you're 10 years old. When you're a 30-year-old professional that's been playing the game for a long time, it certainly shouldn't happen, especially in big games, at big moments. This is when your best guys, the cream needs to rise to the top. He should have absolutely been all over that, no question. But he decided to triple coverage on the inside as opposed to covering the wide open guy making the
Yeah.
run. So, absolutely no reason he was not needed where he was at all.
Yeah, man, I'm watching the
Absolutely
replay right
ridiculous.
now. Like he just doesn't need to be. I think it's Pisili who's there because they got two guys already on Dovbek, which is I mean that's fine because he's like is the tallest and biggest target that should be in there. And then I think number 30 is that Mazzocchi? Who I don't know who number
Yeah,
30 is, but he's
Mazzocchi.
already on Pisili. Di Lorenzo needs to be off him, or he needs to be
Yep.
talking with Mazzocchi to say someone needs to cover the wide man, right? Because you are the captain, you can also dictate that. But yeah,
Or just play off him. You know, like let Mazzocchi plays like I think he's played 30 minutes all year. Okay, like Mazzocchi's clearly doing this. Maybe I should do the other thing.
Yeah, it's
You know,
or like,
it's
hey, watch that guy. At least like look around you.
yeah,
But yeah, there was a zero awareness, and that was
zero.
a massive, massive brain fart because that's
Yeah,
2 points lost there in a very, very tight Serie A. And when Inter drew, this was a time to pull ahead a little bit. So
yeah,
huge, huge implications there. The 1 point for Roma doesn't help Roma very much. I mean, it's 1 point versus zero, but 2 points lost for Napoli is huge. It was a
exactly.
hell of a
It's a
shot from Angelino. I'll
massive.
give him that.
It was. It's a massive letdown result. And truly though, in like their last three games were what Juventus. Who they played the last three games? There are three tough games, and they came out with two Atalanta, Juventus,
Yeah.
and Roma, and they took 7 points out of a possible nine in that.
Yeah, and they were
That's not
close to
that's
wrapping
pretty
it up
good.
against Roma too. So I mean, it was
Yeah,
just, but
yeah, and that's it's unfortunate that Di Lorenzo had that moment, but I will say, Spinazzola's back, baby. He is
yeah,
awesome,
that first goal
awesome.
was great. I mean, it was hey Juan Jesus, man. That was a good
Yeah,
ball over the
yeah,
top. Good ball over the top.
dude.
Good run from Spinazzola. Mancini terrible in the air reading, and then Aspilar just came is also poor reading. So that's definitely on those two, but good
Oh
on
yeah,
Spinazzola for actually staying with it. And that's a hell of an accurate little chip there, a little kind of tap that he popped it over Spilar for that goal. So really nice goal.
free signing, top talent. Get the guy on the field, let him play.
Yeah, exactly. Free signing,
Let him
right?
get
Ton of
some
experience too.
consistent minutes. Like the guy's got class. You know he can play the game. He's not 38 years old. Is not old. I mean, this isn't a physical game. Okay, it's like the least physical game on the planet. That's still has quote unquote allowable contact.
If you're talking about contact
He can he
sports,
can
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he can play. He can play. Get him on the field with consistency, and look what happens. Beautiful. I'm very happy for him because he's a good player.
No, he did well. Last game of the week here is gonna be Lazio versus Cagliari. I keep saying this, but a much needed win for a couple of these teams. You're looking, I mean, Juve needed a win, Fiorentina, Lazio. I mean, the big ones were there.
Bologna.
The ones who did not were Atalanta, Milan, and Inter, and then Napoli. Those are the ones who are all
Napoli.
kind of battling for stuff. But Lazio was able to kind of keep pace. Big 2-1 win because a lot of teams are stumbling right now. It was Zaccagni and Castellanos, and a goal on Cagliari by Roberto Piccoli. So a good win from Lazio, as I said, needed for sure. They keep pace there in fourth place, um,
Yep.
and we'll see what Fiorentina does. I think. I mean, it was good to see Lazio kind of step back up because they've been definitely faltering of late. Um, yeah, I mean, what do you think of the game?
I did not see this game today. I was working my butt off today, so I did not see it.
Yeah, this one I unfortunately did not see either. I saw the highlights, of course, but I can't give it,
Yeah.
people like a play-by-play and say how everybody played. So
Uh,
all I can
I
say is
watched all
it's a
the big
huge
ones
win.
except for this one. This is one I wanted to see too because I like watching Ravella, and I guess he did really well. Someone posted his like passing ratio, which I whatever stats, super high passing ratio, a
Yeah,
lot
no,
of
I'm
tackles.
I'm sure he's always good. Guys like
He's
that
always
who
good
work
every
hard are
week.
never going to have a bad
Yeah,
game. They might make a mistake, but like when you have that work rate, it's hard to
yeah.
say you're going to ever play terrible, right? Because even if you're off, you're at least going to work hard and be in the right spots.
He's the one I'm pissed about most. I'm more pissed about him than Heisen.
For sure. Yeah, I mean that's definitely 1 and 2 though. I would say.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get into the preview for the next match day. So we'll go with the kind of one of the makeup games here, and it's actually we'll just do a double here because Fiorentina plays
Yeah, they're
Inter and
back to
Inter plays
back.
Fiorentina. Basically, home for Fiorentina first, home for Inter second. This is their makeup game on Thursday, and
Four
then they
days
have
apart.
their other league game on Monday. So it's a double here, which is very very
Four
unique. I'm not
days
sure how often we've
apart.
seen this.
No, I like this. This is good. I Fiorentina has to get one of these games.
They
They
do.
have to. They absolutely have to get one of these games. There's no doubt about it.
Do you think they're going to? Do you think that they're going to pull off this first one or
No,
the second one?
I don't. I don't think we get either of them. I think Inter are pissed. I think we saw their class come out against Milan. I mean, it's 2025. These guys decide to play when they want. It's totally optional if they decide if they want to come to work with their game face on. And I think that Inter, they have a team that they know damn
Yeah.
well they can beat. I think they're going to come out and put them away in both games. I really do.
I'm gonna go. I think Fiorentina is gonna pull off a tie in one of the games, and then I think they're gonna lose. So I think I'm gonna go with the first game because it's at home. I'm gonna go 2-2 tie.
I'll take
Second
a draw all
game, I'm
day.
gonna go a 3-1 win for Inter in the second game. Could be 2-1, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
These are tough games for very, very tough games for Fiorentina. They're in a tough spot right now on the table because they botched a bunch of games
They're
recently.
starting to play better though
They're
right now.
start,
Though they're starting to
they're
play better
definitely
again.
starting to play better, and they made some big moves in the mercato, which could destabilize them a little bit too. You never know.
Yes,
But
especially in the beginning, right? It might not be
yeah,
amazing right off the bat, but I do think that they're good choices overall.
and Inter's going to be solid. They're going to have their world class lineup out there for both of these
Yeah, Hakan
matches.
should be back again and actually like back because
Yeah,
he just was kind of come back from a little bit of a layoff, so he should be actually
yeah.
coming back now, which is a huge piece if he's healthy.
I really want Napoli to win the Scudetto this year. That's who I've been pulling for hard, and I really hope that Fiorentina can steal some points here, but I just don't see it happening. Inter's just too good.
Gotcha. Our next gonna be Juve versus Como at Como. What do you think?
Well, okay, so it's been a weird season, and I would say after a big win like that against Empoli, that a young team that's low on confidence should be brimming with it right now, and they should build that into that to another supposedly easy game. But that's not how the season has gone. So I'm going to stick with what I think I know because I'm stubborn. I'm gonna say that Juve is going to keep the ball rolling. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win over.
I'm gonna go 2-1. Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1. I could see a 2-0. I think Juve is gonna pull it off again though.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna have like a little like nice patch here for a little bit before they start to get shaky again.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I didn't actually think we'd be this bad. I just thought we'd be. I thought for the next few years under this management, we'd wallow somewhere in like between second and fifth. And I didn't think we'd actually be like. I guess we've been in fifth all year, but we were in sixth for a while. I didn't know we'd be stinking it up
Yeah,
this
yeah. At
bad.
least
But
playing like
I
this.
mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't like the team. I don't think we'd be good, but I don't think we'd be. I think they would do just enough to convince the fans that things are going in the right direction. But it's been
right.
so bad that even the blind can see.
Next is Atalanta Verona. I think Atalanta's going to come
Ooh,
out strong this game. They need to. They've had
yeah.
a rough patch the past several games. Actually, been one of the teams on the worst form of late in Serie A. But I think they're going to come out with a 3-1 win here against Verona, and I think that Daniel Maldini is going to get one goal.
Verona's been feisty, and they could be a trap team, but I just think that Atalanta's had such a bad run of form. One win in 5 matches for Atalanta,
Yeah,
who started out on fire. I think they're going to come out and absolutely spank them.
I think they have to. I think I'm
Yeah.
going to go 3-1. What are you going to go? Similar.
Yeah, 3-1, 3-0. Well, they'll probably give up a goal. They can't play defense, so yeah.
Empoli, Milan at Empoli. I think Milan is going to keep the ball rolling here with a little bit of positivity. They got a lot of signings coming in. I think that's just going to give the team a little bit of a
Yeah.
boost for a few games here. I think they're going to pull it off against Empoli. I'm going to go a very similar score, either 2-0 or 3-1. I think they'll get like a win probably by 2 goals.
Yeah, similar to Juventus. I think these mercenary rosters really thrive when they get other, some fresh blood in. It's like, oh, hey, I
Yeah,
got to play
it's not
harder
stale
because,
yet, you know?
yeah, my position's in jeopardy. I got to play harder because they don't care about winning or about the club. They just want to play harder because they could get traded, and that's a pain in the ass to pack up again.
Genoa, Torino.
Mm,
Torino is just kind of one of those teams. They're a hit or miss team. Genoa's been quite good. I like Genoa. I think that Vera's doing a very good job right now.
yes.
So I'm gonna go Genoa, but I mean it's this really could go either way. The right call's probably a draw, like a 2-2 draw or 1-1 draw. I'm gonna go Genoa edging it 2-1.
Well, I know you love edging, but I think I'm going to stick with the 1-1 draw because I think both these teams are draw type teams. They're both tough midfields. They're kind of locked down. They work hard, feisty.
I
I
could
think it's
definitely
going to be
see
a
a draw.
1-1 game.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Yeah,
go out on a limb and say Genoa wins, but yeah, I
their
could definitely
finishing
see a
isn't
draw.
that great either. But I mean, Vieira's done a really good job this year. I think you just said it. Coming to a team like that, struggling, stay
Mm-hmm.
rights the ship. And he's got De Winter playing really well. Moretti playing really well. Friendship's been good since day one. I like seeing it. It's nice to see.
Yep.
I was bummed he didn't put Balotelli in. Balotelli played like 10
I
minutes
think
against
he's like
Napoli.
already
He's the
already
best
rumored
player on
to
the field.
leave.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's gone. Vieira hates
Like
him.
Zanulo, dude. This Balotelli and
Oh, the
Zanulo,
guy's an
they're
asshole.
already leaving their teams within a few months.
The
Same. Yeah.
guy's he's a sack, dude. He's just a sack. No one likes him.
We move through Venezia and Roma next. I think Roma's gonna win this one. I think it's gonna be 2-1, maybe 2-1, 2-0. I think Roma will win it.
1-1 trap game for Roma.
Oh, it is at
One,
Venezia.
yeah, 1-1 trap game for Roma.
This would be the
all the
exact
way.
type of game for them to slip up, right? They've been on a decent run of form. They need to collect some more points here, and this would be the exact type of game that Roma's been doing all season. It would kind of fit their MO, though, so I could see it, but I'm going to go with the win for Roma.
I hope you're right, but yeah. The
Could
way I don't
definitely
know,
see kind
Serie
of
A has
Roma tighten
been
it up.
weird.
It's
Yeah.
been super strange, very strange season to call.
Like these are the kind of games that like teams like Roma who are trying to crawl back in need to win, and they just won't. They'll just
Yep,
come out of it with the draw, and you'll be like, "What the hell, man? We're running out of time
been
here,
happening
guys."
all season with with
Yeah,
tons of teams.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Lazio Monza. I mean, I don't think I can bet a Monza win in any game, especially
yeah.
just
This,
let go of Maldini and Bondo. I really can't see them winning almost any
yeah,
game.
yeah.
I can't call them over anybody.
Those those Monza offloading those players just says we're done. We're going to Serie B. We're getting ready. We're leaning out the squad for it.
They really
They're
are
done.
though. Like, I don't know if they
They
brought
can't save
anybody
their
in. I'll look it
season.
up soon, but I mean, there's no way you can't drop like your two best performers.
No, I mean based on the points, anyways. I mean, their season's over.
Yeah,
They're toast. Yeah.
so I see Lazio
Well,
win probably 2-0.
yeah, yep. And Lazio needs it. They need to keep going here because they're in a good
Mm-hmm.
spot.
Cagliari versus Parma. They're back to back right now. Cagliari is at
Oh.
21 points in 17th place. Parma is 18th place with 20 points. So this is a direct rival for the relegation here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go tie 1-1 or 2-2.
that's probably exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to say that Cagliari is going to take him 2-1 though.
All right, take it. Lecce
Just to be
Bologna.
different. Bologna's got it. Bologna's doing it.
You think so?
Yeah, Italiano. Yeah. So here's what's going to happen. Pobega's going to get a red card, but they're still going to win.
Yeah, right.
He's due. It's been 3 games. He's got to get another red card.
He's two. Yeah, but has he gotten any more goals? Because he likes to trade. He
No,
likes to have a great performance and then a red card. So you never know.
no, he is not. I don't think he's played much since the second red card.
No, he hasn't.
Uh,
He hasn't.
the first one will give you a confidence boost, get you right back out there, knowing that we got your
Yeah,
back. The second one, no, you're riding
he's
the pine,
done.
dude. No,
Yeah,
I'm
I
done.
mean, man, I'm just seeing a tie here, a 2-2. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah, I was
Ah,
initially gonna say a 2-1 draw, but I could see a tie. Bologna's very similar to most teams, because they're all battling for Europe right now. Needs a win to kind of stay in the thick of things. They got a big game against Milan coming up at the end of the month. That will be a direct rival for their spot. I don't know. They may tie here. I could see a win, close game,
I,
but
I,
they could tie.
you might be right. So Lecce is like the absolute kryptonite for a team like Bologna. Bologna sucks at playing defense, especially against the counterattack. Lecce is really good at locking it down and hitting people on the counterattack. So this literally could be the Achilles heel for Bologna.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. Last two games: Napoli Udinese.
Tough game for Napoli. I mean, they all are going to be, and it's Napoli is 11 players deep. So, well, actually, I'll say 12. That they're getting Buongiorno back. This is the first game we'll see Buongiorno back. That could be good. That could be bad because he
Starting
was
or is he
coming off of a
subbing?
pretty. I'm sure he'll get out there and start. That's what Conte will run him right out there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's just what I think Conte will do because he sticks by his starters. Unless he's truly not healthy, then he won't. It was not a simple injury, so I hope they're not rushing him back. But at the same point, you got to get to the end of the
Yeah, I
season with
don't
this
want to see him
guy.
rush back.
Yeah, he's our best actual defender out of Italian defenders. Like none of our other defenders are great defenders. He has the actual potential to be. So I don't want to screw his career up.
No, yeah, I hate rushing
When it
players
makes
back
sense.
because it very rarely goes well. So if he's truly healthy and he's been training full blast for a while, like several weeks, cool. If he hasn't been, I would just save him
Well,
personally,
he had
or
what, a
sub him on or
spinal injury
something.
or like a vertebrae,
I can't
something like
remember,
that.
but I know it
It
wasn't
wasn't a
a
leg
simple injury.
injury.
Yeah,
It wasn't a leg injury though. So that's at least it wasn't like he can still body people and run with people, that kind of stuff. But the header stuff might be a problem, and that's it's a big deal. So I like to see how he does. That's
he has a vertebrae
maybe
injury.
yeah, maybe that's the big note for this match here coming up. But Napoli needs to take care of business. Every single
Do you
game
think they're gonna pull it
is the
off?
biggest game of the season. Yes, I do. I think they're going to pull off an ugly 1-0 game.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I was gonna say that like a last minute like 2-0, but I think most of the game is gonna be 1-0, and then they get like maybe a late counter like seal it, something like that.
Yeah. They've
Um,
been playing terrifically lately, and that last match against Roma, it just wasn't clicking because what did Roma do? They just made it incredibly difficult for Napoli to score. And
Yeah,
I
and
think,
Udinese is a tough physical team.
yeah,
Like, they're gonna
yeah,
play gritty, and that's definitely a team that Napoli I think is gonna struggle to impose their will on. I could be wrong, but
yes.
I also think it's gonna be a
Oh no,
pretty gritty game. But they might pull it off. I think Napoli's gonna pull it off just barely.
that's a tougher type game for Napoli to. That's a tougher team for Napoli to handle, I think, than um, a team that pushes back is a lot tougher than that. Than it's a team that's like super high skilled. Napoli just push those guys around. So I could be wrong on this one, but I think it's gonna be a scrappy, ugly game.
That's really it because the last game is the repeat Fiorentina Inter, which we kind of
Yeah.
already talked about. There are some games coming up in around a week in the Champions League, so we can probably cover that when we get into our next review. So the playoff teams are going to be three of them. There's going to be Juve, Atalanta, and Milan, all going into their playoff rounds on the 11th and 12th of February. We can kind of go over that next week. But that's pretty much it. Did you have any other big thoughts?
Man, no, I don't have any big thoughts at all, ever.
All right. I guess the overarching theme is that there were a few teams that felt a little bit shy when picking up points, and then a couple of the teams who are in the thick of it did come out with much needed wins. Those are
Cover your
Lazio,
back post.
Juve, Juve, and Bologna. Yeah, exactly. Cover
Take
your
a
back
quick second
post.
to look around you. Like, just take a quick notice of some where your teammates are, where the opponents are. Just a quick notice. That's it. Don't just get magnetized to the ball. I think that's been a theme for a lot of teams for a long time, and just the overall poor awareness of players. But
Yeah.
when
Tracking
you get
late
in these,
runs and like
yeah,
watching your back post. It's the same type of theory. It's just being aware of your surroundings and being aware of where your next threat comes from. You don't
yeah,
see it a lot in today's
a
game.
coach doesn't coach that. That's common sense. Your players have to do that, especially in moments like that when everyone's nervous and it's a big deal. That's when you really need to be aware of
Yeah,
where the
that's when it actually
hell
does come
you
down
are.
to the actual players. Like
Yeah,
when this is nervous, just late, you're trying to hold on to win. Like that's when it comes down to the players. You can talk about like formations and tactics, and that will help you a little bit, but really the end comes down to instincts and just playing the game
yeah,
and reading the game.
absolutely, absolutely.
All right, it's been real. We will see everybody back for the next week or the review, but actually we're probably gonna do a midweek
Mercato.
ranking list, kind of like a tier list of
Yeah.
the Mercato, who did well, who did poorly,
Do we do
and
a
we're
hot
gonna
or not?
discuss
We do
it.
hot or not
A hotter,
Mercato rating.
hotter or not?
Yeah, we just go through the teams and be like hot, not.
Absolutely not, dude. No,
That'd be
we're
awesome.
gonna
That'd
do
be real
a tier
classy.
list.
Okay.
You want a hot or not?
Fine.
All right, we'll release two versions on. We'll release the hot or not on the TikTok account that we don't have because that
On the
seems like it would
OnlyFans.
fit TikTok. Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Can we use the tier maker though for tomorrow? Because that people like the tier maker. You've seen
Oh,
this
we're
tier maker
using
that
tier
we're.
makers. That's what we're doing. Yeah,
Oh
yeah, we're gonna
my
do a tier
god, I
list.
love it.
Yep. S
Wow.
tier, A, B, C. You know it. You know the
Every time
drill.
I see a tier maker, I click on it.
That's right. All right, let's roll. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching, and as always, Forza Calcio. Ciao.